Hey guys. Now I know I've been doing a lot of watch reviews and videos over the last year or so, but a couple things have happened. I've run out of watches to talk about, and I've got some other interests that I'd like to kind of talk about. So, one of them being clothes or outdoor gear. So this is kind of my first foray into some other videos I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be comparing some Keens here on the left to Chacos on the right. I've owned these Keens for about 6 years now, and the Chacos for about 8. I'm gonna get into the history of them first, and then we're gonna go through kind of the build, and then kind of my overall impressions and recommendations for the two. So let's start with the Keens here. So Keen was founded in 2003 out in Portland, Oregon by a guy named Martin Keen and a guy named Rory Fierst. So this model here was kind of one of their more original designs. It's been around for a while. It's super popular. It's not going anywhere. This one is kind of like their tried and true. You can get it in this version here, which is polyester, or you can get it in the leather variant. So, really, I think it's a cool design. It's not for everyone, but it certainly is recognizable, as Keen. The Chaco dates back a little further. Now, Chaco was started in 1989 in Colorado by a rafting guide. So he wanted something to hold up to kind of the rigors of whitewater rafting, and this was his idea, a really simple sandal with a continuous polyester webbing that goes through the midsole and is fully adjustable and secure. So, obviously very iconic to Chaco. You see one of these type of sandals and you already know it's a Chaco. It's got a polyurethane midsole, which is really kind of unique in this industry to have that type of midsole. So both, very cool in their own right, but very different. So now let's kind of get into the build of each. I'm going to kind of be jumping back and forth between the two here because they have a lot of similarities and some differences I think would be cool to kind of contrast. First, the upper part, they're both made out of this polyester webbing, which is, it's nice, it's light, it's washable. I got both of mine in darker color so they don't show a lot of stains or stuff like that, but I haven't had any issues with, tearing or pilling, which is like a pull in the material or anything like that. They've been great. You can see on the Keen I've had some issues with the outsole coming apart from the midsole, and I've tried fixing it with shoe goo, and it hasn't really worked. So I'll probably end up taking it to a local cobbler and having him kind of help repair it. But that's kind of another story. The midsole is kind of, I think, the biggest difference between the two sandals. You've got the Keen, which has a traditional kind of running shoe midsole made out of EVA. It's a little bit lighter weight, whereas the Chaco has a polyurethane midsole, which is traditionally used in hiking boots. So I did weigh these two before shooting this, and it makes about a 2-ounce difference between the two sandals. So, all in all, 4 ounces for the pair. You're looking at about a quarter pound heavier for the Chacos. The Chacos do have an antimicrobial lining on top of the midsole, which is pretty nice since your barefoot's going to be right on there. Let's flip these guys over now and look at the bottom. So the Keen has, a nice outsole, I would say. It's got good traction. I've worn it in the water with no issues. I do prefer the outsole on this Chaco. It's got a Vibram Terrano outsole, which now they only offer if you do a custom sandal, I believe. I was just on their website and trying to find one of their stock models that had this outsole, and I couldn't find one. You can get the Z1, which is this model, with the Vibram Colorado outsole, which is a smoother Vibram option. But this is the thicker, more tready version, and this one you can get, but you have to go the custom route. So one thing to keep in mind, I do like the Vibram. It lasts really a long time in my experience, and it has good traction. So I like the Vibram outsoles. One thing that's cool about Chaco is, when they first started, they were made in the United States, and now all their stock stuff has moved to Asia now that they were bought by Wolverine a couple years ago. But if you order custom sandals from them or get a repair, that work is done in Michigan. So that's one thing that's kind of cool. Keen, on the other hand, I think most of their stuff used to be made in Asia, and now they're starting to make some more stuff in the United States, in Portland. But I think it's limited to a few models and not kind of across their whole line as of yet. So maybe down the road. So, the Chacos on their website right now, they're $105 for the Z1, which is this model. They've got a Z2 that kind of loops in your big toe here. I prefer the Z1. I've owned both before. I think these are a little bit more comfortable and a little bit less kind of issues with rubbing on your big toe. And the Keens were $100 on their website right now. This is the Newport. The Newport H2 is available on their website now, and they've got a ton of different color options, and obviously the leather option as well. I would recommend the Chacos. If you're carrying a backpack more and you want a little bit more stability, I think it's a more sturdy, robust option. If you're not carrying a bigger backpack and toe protection is important to you, I would recommend the Keens. That's pretty much all there is to it. I obviously have justified owning both. I like having both options, but if you're only able to get one, that would be my recommendation between the two. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, put them below. Thanks.